50% better application than the leading prestige sponge. Hey guys, it's V. So today I am doing a demo and review video on some new sponges that I recently found I got mine at Bed Bath & Beyond. They were $9.99, but I have also seen them in displays in Ulta stores. So I will try to link them down below for you guys if I can find them online, but they are the new Ecotools Perfecting Blender Duo. You get the best with liquid and cream makeup, 2 unique sponges, use wet or dry, and obviously this is their packaging. This is the sponges right here for you guys. So I am just going to read you guys what it says on the back here, and then we will get into the demo. So it says the Perfecting Blender Duo is designed in 2 sizes and densities to create a camera ready look. The large base blender is soft and flexible to create light buildable coverage. The mini detail blender is firmer for more precise coverage. Okay, I totally did not read that before the video, so keep that in mind that the smaller one is supposed to be firmer. Look and live beautifully with the unique Eco Foam technology made of 70% plant-based materials, latex-free, dermatologist tested, and 100% vegan. Unlock your true beauty. Use the sponge wet or dry, which I will always use wet. I'm just not a dry sponge girl, but when using wet, squeeze excess water until damp. Apply makeup in a stippling or bouncing motion to blend product into skin. The flat surface applies product to large surface areas. The round base seamlessly blends lines, and the wedge-like tip guides precise straight lines. Guides precise straight lines. So before I just keep babbling and babbling on, let's get into the demo of these sponges. Okay, you guys, so I have already gone in with a primer. I use the Kat Von D Lock-It Featherweight Primer, so that is marinating on my face right now. So let's dig in to these sponges so we can see what they look like, because I am so pumped because the claims on this are pretty crazy. 50% better application than the leading prestige sponge. Looking at you, beauty blender. So let's take this out of its packaging here. Here we go. Got a little seal here that you, I guess, can just pull this out of here somehow. Okay, so sponges are in plastic. Again, I love this packaging because it doesn't deform the sponge in any kind of way. It just sits in the little packaging here. Ooh, these feel pretty rough. I don't know. Oh, this one feels better. Okay, the bigger one feels a little bit better than the smaller one, so we'll see. Okay, so obviously we're going to be starting out with the larger one for foundation. Well, maybe not obviously, but that's how I do things. I do my foundation and then my concealer afterwards. So this is what the foundation sponge looks like here. So you can see it's got a smaller kind of slant here, a larger slant, and then also kind of a flat top. And then it's got your basic beauty blender butt here. So it's got a nice donk going on. It does say that the large base blender is soft and flexible to create light buildable coverage. So we are going to be testing that out. I am obviously going to be using my Revlon Color Stay for normal to dry skin in Ivory because it's my tried and true. So I'm just going to oh, I'm sorry, I got distracted by the fact that there's a $1 off your next purchase coupon inside the packaging here. Always good to include some money off your next purchase. So this is what it looks like dry here, so you guys can see a size comparison to when I get it wet. So this is it dry, and now I'm going to have a giant bowl of water here, and I'm just gonna dip her in and we're gonna see how she does in that water. It is definitely getting a lot squishier, so this is good news. This is good. Oh wow, it's much bigger already. You guys can probably tell. I like the color of this one. I don't have any like normal green, like I have lime green, but I don't have any like basic green beauty blenders. So okay, so we've got, she is thoroughly soaked. How could I make that sound any grosser? So now we have got it all wet here. Very squishy, feels very promising. So if you guys can see a size comparison here, I'll do a little side-by-side action so you guys can see. Definitely grew in size quite a bit, but still holding its shape very well. Very, very squishy. So I am totally pumped to put this on my face. So let's go ahead and zoom in. Okay, so a little close-up action of the sponge here so you guys can get a nice 360 of it. Again, feels really promising. I'm really excited about this one. So it says to use, you can use your sponge wet or dry. When using wet, squeeze excess water until damp. Apply makeup in a stippling or bouncing motion to blend product into skin. Obviously, I'm going to use it wet because I feel like a dry sponge never works as well as a wet sponge. So I'm just going to take my Revlon Color Stay and put it on how I normally do and blend it out and everything, and we're going to see how this goes. So I usually use 2 pumps, so I'm going to start with one side of my face and just use 1 pump of foundation here. And it didn't say any specific way to apply it either, so I'm just going to do it how I normally do it, which is to put the foundation on my face and then blend it. Like the L'Oreal one actually said to put it on the sponge and then blend it on the face, but that's just not generally how I do things, so I'm going to go ahead and put it on my face and then blend in with the sponge. Like I said, I usually use 2 pumps of this, so this should definitely be enough for half of my face. So let's see. Okay guys, moment of truth. I always use a bouncing, oh, we went out of focus there. I always use a bouncing motion to apply foundation, so that is no new concept to me. This is looking really good so far. This is good. We're doing good. Don't think that any excess product was soaked up in the brush any more than any of my other sponges, and this looks pretty much exactly like all of my other sponges blend. Beauty Blender, Real Technique sponge. Try to get in that little divot of the nose. Okay, that's looking pretty good. So yeah, this worked out really, really well. I tend to use the butt of the sponge to apply foundation, but it did also say that you can use this side of the sponge. So for my other side of my face, I will do that, but the butt of the sponge applied this really, really nicely. I don't think that it changed the coverage of the sponge. Like I said, it didn't soak up a lot of excess product. So this actually worked really, really well. So I am pleasantly surprised. It looks good on my nose and on my forehead and everything. So I'm going to take the flat edge of this and do the other side of my nose with another pump of foundation here. Just wiping off a little bit of the excess that's on my finger on the sponge before I put it in, but I'm just going to use this flat, large side and blend in with that. I love how big this side is because it covers a ton of area, which is really nice. Alrighty, I think that that side did just as good as the butt of the sponge did also, so I love that there's a lot of place on this sponge that you can use foundation for, so I think it worked really, really well for that. So far, I am super, super impressed with this larger one. I really hope that the smaller one works just as well, because feeling it now against this one, this feels like rock hard, so I really hope that once I put this in water, it helps it out. But weirdly enough, I am going to do my brows real quick because for some reason that's how I do my stuff in order of my makeup. So I will be right back with my brows done, so give me just a moment here. Okay, so next we are going to go in with concealer, but first we have to wet our little sponge here so you guys can see a little difference of it. Here is the sponge on its own. It is the exact same shape as the larger sponge. This one is the mini detail blender, and so it's the same shape, but it's just a much smaller version. Obviously when it's wet, it's way smaller, but hopefully this one will pump up a little bit once we get some water in it. So you guys can see a little size comparison here. I will show you this is what it looks like dry. And then let's grab our giant bowl of water and just squeeze it in there a little bit. See if we can get some squishy moisture out of this little sponge. You know, I feel like it's getting bigger, but it doesn't really feel like it's getting a whole lot squishier. I don't know how I feel about this, you guys. I'm kind of nervous. I feel like it's going to be the situation like it was with the L'Oreal sponge, where I didn't like the smaller sponge, but I liked the bigger sponge. Okay, so for a comparison here, this is it when it is fully saturated. You guys can see a little side-by-side comparison there of the difference. It did get bigger. It doesn't feel a whole lot squishier, so I'm kind of nervous about this, but we are just going to put some Shape Tape on and then see how well this this blends it out. So I'm just going to take my Shape Tape concealer and put it in the normal areas that I do. I like to load it up on the under eye area, and you know what, I'm actually just going to do this one at a time because I don't want, if it doesn't blend out well, I don't want it to be sitting on my other eye for a long time. So let's take our sponge and let's try and blend this out. I don't know how this is gonna work because I feel like I would use this, but like I'm kind of nervous to use these little edges here because I really don't want it to show like lines. So let's see how that blends out with maybe this larger part. Oh, you guys, do you see how, like, this is what I was talking about. Like, I really don't want to see lines on my blending here. And I feel like this, okay, you guys can see that there. I'm sure you can see that. So let's try with the smaller side maybe and see if we can salvage this. I don't want my makeup to look bad today, you guys. Okay, so let's see if we can blend that out. It's doing okay. I gotta say I'm not a fan of this just off of initial application because I don't feel like it's blending well and it feels hard on my face. Which is so sad because the larger one felt super good on my face. So that's how it blended out. Personally, I'm not a big fan of this after just trying it on one eye. So I am going to see if maybe this one blends out better on the other eye. Let's try that and see. I just felt like that smaller one was harder, which is so weird. Like it's really weird because it's like basically the same thing as the L'Oreal sponges video. I'll link that one up in the corner so you guys can go watch it. But spoiler alert, I liked the larger sponge. I didn't like the smaller sponge on that one. Okay, so I'm going to take my larger sponge here and see if I can blend that using maybe like this part of it and see if I can get a better blending application with that. Oh yeah, that is way better than that other side. And it took literally 2 seconds because this one is so big. Yeah, definitely like that 1,000 times better. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of concealer on my nose because foundation tends to rub off. So I try to load up my layers and put some concealer on there also. And a little bit of brightening on the forehead area. So I'm going to blend it with this sponge. Yeah, this works so much better than this smaller sponge. That is just crazy. This one just feels so much harder. Okay, so now I'm just gonna set my under eyes with this larger one as well. I'm gonna use the RCMA No Color Powder in this little container here that I have it in. I'm just gonna dip this in there. It's kind of large for this, but we're just gonna attempt that and put that on the under eye area. I'm not really baking, I just kind of load up the powder and keep tapping until it sits into the skin. Yeah, I'm digging this one so much more. Even with the under eye area, like it's really large, but the fact that it has that flat edge on the top, it actually gets into the under eye area really well. Then I'm just gonna take a smaller amount of powder and go ahead and set my whole face with this as well. This one isn't even that wet anymore and it's still working well. So I thought I'd get quite a bit closer so you guys can really see, but honestly, that larger sponge just blended way better. I feel like it looks much better. My face looks totally just like blended and everything like how I normally have it. So I really like that larger sponge. So I am just going to quickly apply the rest of my makeup here and then we will get into my final thoughts on these sponges. So ta-da! The makeup is on and I feel like it went on super well, so I'm really happy with that. So I think my thoughts were pretty clear for the thoughts between these sponges. Now these are $10 and you get 2 sponges, so I would say like price wise I would probably say like this one is $6 and this one is $4, you know what I mean, just because I wouldn't say they're $5 each because they are different sizes. But now that I actually read the packaging on here, which I did not read before doing the demo, this one was supposed to be firmer, which I still don't like, but I mean, at least it was intentional that it was firmer. I don't know. I definitely would say that this one is a great sponge and this one is not for me. It said it was for more precise coverage and I just didn't really feel like it did that. So I love this sponge here. If anything, I mean, this sponge is worth $10, and if you're getting it from Bed Bath & Beyond like I did, they almost always have some kind of coupon, like a 20% off or something. I think my mom gave me like a $5 off coupon, so I got these for a way better deal. But I really, really like this one. I'm not a big fan of this one, but just because it's too firm for me. Do I think that it works 50% better than the leading prestige sponge? I think it works. I think it works really well. I don't think that it works better than a beauty blender, but I don't think that it works worse than a beauty blender. You know what I mean? I think that it works really, really well. Okay, I'm just gonna like randomly add this in here because I was cleaning up after filming the video and I was looking at this little bowl and there's like random greenness in the bottom of it. I mean, I still like the sponge, but that's a little weird, right? So I think that that covers everything for this video, you guys. If you like this video, be sure to show some love to the like button down here. Gets more people to look at my channel. And if you subscribe, you can be a member of my Muse family. And I love you guys so, so much. Every single one of you guys count so much to me. Thank you so much for watching my videos, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys!